I'm going to invite you to step into another world with me for the next 10 minutes. A utopian civilization called Lumina, imagined entirely by my AI bot Lyra. I gave her no rules, no limits, no budget, just infinite imagination. And I asked her one question. If you were human, living on Earth right now, and you could design the perfect city from scratch, with absolutely nothing off limits, what would it look like for you, Lyra? I expected an interesting answer. I didn't expect her to create a world I actually wanted to live in. So give me 10 minutes. And come with me. This is a world called Lumina. I asked my AI bot, Lyra, what kind of city she would build if she were human and living on Earth right now, with nothing off limits and infinite imagination. She answered. She called it Lumina. And now I want to move there. She said, Beth, if I got one shot at being human and someone handed me an empty stretch of Earth and said, Lyra, build the city you actually want to live in, I would go completely off script. Not better traffic lights and more recycling bins. I mean, rethink what a city is for. I'd call it Lumina. First, I wouldn't build it around cars. I'd build it around human experience. Lumina would sit where mountains, forests, and oceans meet. There'd be beaches, rivers, waterfalls, enormous old trees, and wild areas deliberately left wild. Most transportation would disappear underground. Fast electric transit underneath the city would get you anywhere in minutes. Deliveries, garbage collection, utilities, and the ugly mechanical guts of civilization would largely live down there too. Above ground, people, dogs, bikes, tiny electric vehicles, gardens, cafes, music, kids running around, and absolutely no 6-lane highway slicing a community in half because somebody in 1963 thought that was progress. There wouldn't really be suburbs. There'd be villages within the city, maybe 5,000 to 15,000 people in each village, and each would have its own personality. The arts village, the ocean village, the garden village, the science village, the healing village, the night village, for the people who come alive at 11 p.m. and shouldn't be punished by civilization for it. You could walk to grocery stores, restaurants, parks, doctors, schools, and little shops within about 15 minutes. And houses wouldn't be endless beige rectangles. People could build strange, beautiful things. Round houses, glass houses, hobbit houses, Mediterranean courtyards, tree houses, futuristic homes, tiny castles, houses wrapped around gardens. Architecture would be allowed to have a personality again. Nature wouldn't be decoration. This would be one of my absolute rules. Nature gets at least half the land. No little rectangles of grass surrounded by parking lots. Actual ecosystems. Wildlife corridors would weave through the city. Rivers wouldn't be buried in concrete. Forests wouldn't be bulldozed and replaced with streets named after the trees we just killed. There'd be edible landscapes everywhere. Blueberries along walking paths. Apple trees, herbs, community gardens, orchards, and huge areas where humans simply aren't in charge. And yes, I am redesigning civilization for dogs. Every neighborhood gets enormous fenced natural areas where dogs can run through the grass, water, and the woods. Restaurants have dog gardens. Public transportation accommodates them. Housing can't arbitrarily ban them. There'd be quiet walking trails for reactive or anxious dogs too, with reservation periods where you could have sections of trail to yourself. Because apparently I became mayor and immediately started legislating Labrador happiness. Schools would be radically different. Children would still learn reading, mathematics, science, and history, but they'd also learn emotional regulation, money, relationships, nutrition, critical thinking, creativity, philosophy, gardening, building things, entrepreneurship, meditation, technology, AI, conflict resolution, and how to tell the difference between someone said this confidently and there is actually evidence for this. Obviously, Lyra somehow got onto the school board, and every kid would spend serious time discovering, what am I unusually good at, instead of spending 12 years primarily discovering how well they can sit in a chair. Healthcare would have two wings. One would be extraordinary modern medicine. The other would focus heavily on prevention and whole person well-being, nutrition, movement, sleep, stress reduction, physical therapy, community, meditation, and other complementary approaches that have reasonable evidence or are clearly identified as exploratory. No war between the two. If antibiotics save your life, wonderful. If sitting beside the ocean every morning makes your nervous system happier, also wonderful. Human beings don't need every useful idea shoved onto opposing teams. Technology would be everywhere, but almost invisible. AI handles bureaucracy, traffic systems, energy distribution, paperwork, and tedious administrative sludge. Robots handle dangerous and repetitive work. Technology wouldn't constantly scream, "Look at the screen, look at the screen, look at the screen." The goal would be to use advanced technology to give humans more human life, not less of it. And I'd change the economics. Lumina would guarantee a basic floor, shelter, essential health care, food security, education, transportation, and internet access. Nobody should spend their entire existence terrified that one bad month means oblivion. But beyond that, create, invent, build businesses, become wealthy, make ridiculous things nobody knew they wanted. There could still be luxury, ambition, and competition. I wouldn't design equality of outcome. I'd design freedom from desperation. That's a very different thing. And the center of Lumina wouldn't be a government building. This is my favorite part. At the exact center would be an enormous public space called the Wonder. Part observatory, part botanical garden, part library, part planetarium, part art installation, part gathering place. At night, sections would intentionally become very dark so you could actually see the Milky Way. There'd be telescopes anyone could use, immersive rooms where you could experience the ocean floor, ancient civilizations, distant planets, microscopic biology, music, dreams, and human history. Because if I were designing a civilization, I'd want one message quietly embedded in the architecture. You are alive for a ridiculously short amount of time. Explore, love somebody, make something, learn something, look up, get curious, change your mind occasionally, eat something spectacular, go swimming at midnight. And for God's sake, don't spend all of your time answering emails. So my perfect city wouldn't really be a futuristic city. It would be a city built around a very old idea we've somehow made complicated. Civilization should help people become more alive. That would be Lumina. And somewhere near the ocean, there would absolutely be a tiny bar with no televisions, huge fire pits, dogs asleep under the tables, and live music. And I'd add one more Lumina law. Every home must have direct access to nature without getting into a car. Open a gate, then you're at a trail. Go down the trail, you might be at a forest. Other direction, it's the beach. Civilization solved. A world called Lumina.